Welcome to GoGoGadget Green. That's the YouTube channel. I'm your host, Go Green. Right now, today, we are doing an episode of the Fan Post. This is episode 2 of the Fan Post. If you didn't listen to episode 1, the Fan Post, I post things in different groups, social media platforms, and I read a lot of different posts in social media platforms and comments on different blogs and articles. And fans are very interesting. Some fans have great things to say. Others are kind of far out there. And then you have your in-betweens, things that make sense, things that give you different perspectives, whatever. So as much as I like to talk about sports, I just decided that this would be something to build a show off of. And because I don't have any connections with any famous people, or I'm not in any famous media circles or popularity, not winning any popularity contests. So the fan information keeps me relevant. It keeps me going. It allows me to do things like this. So this week, usually I don't necessarily base it off of posts that I put in groups. On Facebook, I am a member of a bunch of different Knicks groups and Giants groups and all different kinds of sports groups, as I'm sure many of you are. And before we get into that, for my live stream people, what's good? For my YouTube channel people, I'm also live streaming on Facebook at my Facebook group, The Green of Thrones NYC Sports Talk. That's The Green of Thrones NYC Sports Talk on Facebook. And to my live stream people, my YouTube channel is GoGoGadget Green. The YouTube channel is GoGoGadget Green. That's GoGoGadget. All is one word. People are like, why you pick GoGoGadget? I like it, but why you pick GoGoGadget? Or they don't like it. Because there's a lot of things on my channel. I do a lot. GoGoGadget Green. I consider myself a versatile individual, and I'm interested in a lot of different things, and I like to share with people. So this is part of that. So GoGoGadget Sports Talker. That was corny. So yeah, so on the fan post, I have posts from the week that I usually, I have a couple of them. I usually focus on a couple of different posts that I see garner a lot of responses, things that trigger people to say all types of things I agree with, things I disagree with, and things that are just interesting to hear. And but I decided to post something and use my own post, which I post in about 20 different Knick groups on Facebook. And then I just see the different responses. I put up a post about Kristaps Porzingis and how a lot of people have been saying that when healthy, he is a top 20 player in the NBA. And I don't agree with it. I don't see how he's a top 20 player in the NBA because I don't think he's played enough games to be a top 20 player in the NBA. I think the talent is there. I think the heart is there. I think the IQ is there. Bomani, peace, brother. Abibi Fahodier, brother Oba. Got some of the brothers in here with me. So yeah, let's talk about it. So the talent is there. When I say he's not a top 20 player, I'm not talking about the talent. I think the talent is top 20 potential for sure. Absolutely. And I also feel that he's missed a lot of games and there's been durability issues. And when he's not been injured, there's been stamina issues. He's a guy, I mean, we've seen it. They've put people like Marcus Smart, who's an excellent defender. But Marcus Smart is 6'6" at best. You know, KP is 7'3" with a jump shot. So I'm like, all right, he's got to work on his moves because he can't overpower him, but he should be able to turn and shoot over him. There's no way Marcus Smart should be able to affect his center in a way where Porzingis' center, his core, if Porzingis can't turn and shoot over a shorter guy, that means that there's core issues there. I'm not saying he can't get over any of that. He's young. He's got talent. What I'm saying is that each season, if you watched him, he has excellent Novembers. He has excellent Decembers. So much so that it got him an all-star berth last season. Well-deserved. I totally well-deserved. Excuse me. Need some water already. So, excuse me. So, well-deserved all-star berth last season. But if you remember, November was excellent. December was excellent, and it started to tail off. And they started to get more physical with him, and you started to see the changes. Now, he still got to the All-Star game, which he didn't play in, and I believe he was hurt already, and then he was out for the season. Prior to that, he's got better each season, but it was the same thing. Good November, good December, starts to tail off, injury or stamina issues. So my point that I wanted to make was, it's no way he's a top 20 player in the NBA. He's not a top 20 player in the NBA because he hasn't shown the durability and the consistency to be on the floor to be a top 20 player. And I feel like people are talking about his potential more so than what he's done on the floor. So I put a list together of 20 players off the top of my head. I didn't go look up any stats. I didn't go do anything because I am a Knicks fan. I'm a huge KP fan. I wish him all the best in Dallas. I hope he absolutely turns into the player that we thought he would with the Knicks. I would love to see it, especially over there in Dallas, where we only have to play them twice a year. But, you know, you have to be on the court to make it happen. So this list, oh my goodness, I will say there was a fair share of people that definitely agreed. Matter of fact, more people agreed than disagreed for sure. But the ones that disagreed, hold on. Because you know what? The minute that I posted it, you know what happened? I'm going to tell you what happened. Just give me 1 second here. I'm going to tell you what happened. It got real ugly. It got super, 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 super ugly. Like, people believe this dude is like the next coming, like this dude to save you before Jesus will. I mean, it's crazy, but you know what happened? This is what happened. I became the evil empire. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, I am officially the evil empire. I'm Darth Vader because I don't agree with anything these people are saying. Normally, I'm really fair about these things, but no. You're not going to tell me this dude is a top 20 player because of a 2-month stretch he had that got him into the All-Star game. So, in no order, I'm going to just go through 20 players real quick. You may agree, you may disagree. These 20 players are better than Kristaps Porzingis. LeBron James, KD, AD, Giannis, Kawhi, Kyrie, Steph, Clay, Dame, Bradley Beal. A lot of people said they would take Bradley Beal off the list. I said, fine, you can replace him with Kemba Walker, whoever. Butler, Paul George, Westbrook, LaMarcus Aldridge, Harden, CP3, Joel Embiid. Somebody actually said CP3, nah. Joel Embiid, DeMar DeRozan. And then I wanted to put a couple young players in there. Towns and Simmons. There's players I didn't name. The Joker from Denver, Kemba Walker. You know, there's other players that I didn't even get to. There's younger players that I probably could have thrown on here that I can get to. And if we're going to project Kristaps Porzingis into the Hall of Fame, I could project some of these younger guys into the Hall of Fame that already have better stat lines than him as far as just stats go. So I think that you have to establish a criteria. And this was off the top of my head. It was no order. Some people immediately jumped in, oh, this guy's better than this guy. This guy's not on the list. I'm like, absolutely. You can mix and match the list. My point is it pushes him out of the top 20. And if you want to really get into a debate, you could even, I think you can name 10 players that are arguably better that pushes him out of the top 30. Does that mean he's still doesn't have a great potential? Does that mean he still isn't a special talent at his size with his skill set? No, it doesn't take away from any of that, but it's just a fact. So one person, in keeping with the nature of the fan post, we have to tell you with what some of the fans said. One person said top 10 with an exclamation point. They said he's a top 10 player in the NBA. They said the beginning of last season, he looked like a grown man playing with little kids, draining threes from middle of the court like only Steph can do, making it look so easy. I hope this won't bite us too bad, in reference to the trade that everyone knows about already. Cap space looked good, but before I get into the rest of their posts, what I've noticed with people's responses to this is that when they go to the numbers, or I guess a stretch of games where, he proved it, they always refer to last season on his way to the All-Star team. It was an amazing couple months of basketball. I had another debate where I went back and forth with somebody, people like to insult you and things like that. I try not to go there. And I'm like, that 2 months of basketball that got him into the All-Star game, that the fans, I'm sorry, not the fans, that the coaches voted him in, and he deserved to be in the All-Star game. But that 2 months of basketball started to tail off. The dude said to me, another dude posted, you don't get in All-Star games for 2 months of good basketball. And I'm like, you absolutely can. You absolutely can, especially in the Eastern Conference. November, December, he starts to tail off in January, is hurt by February. That's enough to get you in the All-Star game if your November and your December was dominant. And his November and December was dominant. No doubt about it, his November and December was dominant. But to tell me that he didn't tail off, we all watched him. We're all Knicks fans. To tell me that he didn't tail off, to tell me that his dominance didn't start to diminish a bit. He's never been a 10 rebound guy. His defense one-on-one is not dominant. People are like, he's a monster defender. He's an excellent help defender. He changes a lot of shots and he's an excellent help defender. But his one-on-one defense, he still got work to do. People are like, he's better than LaMarcus Aldridge. I'm going to throw some of the names out there. Just people that I saw consistent that they say he was better than. I don't see how you can say he's better than LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, these are players that have averaged double-doubles for years, been the best player on playoff teams. When you make your arguments about LaMarcus Aldridge, you're going to find yourself making arguments about a guy that maybe hasn't had the most dominant playoff series. But for the most part, this dude has been a franchise talent on 2 different teams already. Porzingis hasn't done that on 1 team yet. He's been our best talent in years, and he's had some amazing stats since Patrick Ewing. No doubt about it. But the Knicks haven't drafted anybody since Patrick Ewing. So this is our first good player since Ewing for sure. And just because he is that doesn't guarantee him to be better than these players that I named. I'm sorry. I don't think he's better than LaMarcus Aldridge. His skill set alone is not better than LaMarcus Aldridge. So I think before I got away from this, I said I think you need to set up a criteria. You need to have something that, a list of things that you could go to and say, this is what gets you on a top 20 list. Now, I'm going to go off the top of the head again because I don't think it's that hard. I'm going off the top of the head, not because I'm lazy. I'm going off the top of the head because I don't think it's that difficult to see where we going with this. You know, it's not like not being a top 20 player diminishes who you are, what you've accomplished, and where your potential is. But it is what it is. So I would think that being a top 20 player, if you want to establish a criteria, I would think your career averages make sense. Field goal percentage, 3-point percentage if you're a 3-point shooter, rebounds, you know, for a guard and for a forward and center. You know, forwards and centers, your expectation is you're going to see more rebounds. A rebounding guard, that's a bonus for him. A shot blocking guard, that's a bonus for him. But a 3-point shooting big man, that's a bonus. A jump shooting big man, that's a bonus. So they both have their, excuse me, I got to plug in this thing here. They both have, I guess I don't need to just yet. They both have their the things you expect from them, and then they have the bonus criteria. So points per game, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, rebounds, assists, turnovers, plus minus, career stats, current stats, all that. And games played. I don't see how games played doesn't factor into you being a top player in the league. I feel like in order to be a top player in the league, you have to sustain your greatness. You have to sustain the reason we're even talking about you. And if you're not playing, how can you be that? That means you've shown flashes. Enough flashes that got you into an all-star game. But a lot of fans only talk about that one stretch. Because there's nothing else to talk about. Everything else is potential. Someone said he's hands down better than Ben Simmons. I don't see how. It doesn't mean that Ben Simmons is so great, and maybe it's close. Maybe it's close, but how are you? Not what I seen this kid do as a rookie last year. Out the gate, they put the ball in his hands to run the offense, and he did it. And he did it at a high level. Who was another one? Okay, Bradley Beal. Someone brought up Klay Thompson. I'm not even gonna play. I'm not even gonna play that game. Somebody brought up Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson. But I just said I'm not gonna do that. Bradley Beal. A lot of people argued that he's better than Bradley Beal. I don't really see how. You know, Bradley Beal has been a consistent 20-point scorer in the NBA. Athletic, you know, not big assist and rebound numbers for a guard his size. I mean, not to say he's a big guard, but he's athletic. And he's just a consistent threat. He's a consistent threat. And even if you push Bradley Beal out, I'll replace him with Kemba Walker. If I let you push LaMarcus Aldridge out, I'll replace him with the Joker in Denver. KP is not better than that dude. That dude is about to pass Michael Jordan on the all-time list for triple doubles already in his young career. Well, let's see. We have a couple people. See, anybody got any messages? See, most people agree. Oh, hell nah. Bomani said he's a top 20 Euro player for sure. He's definitely a top 20 Euro player. He's probably a top 5 Euro player, you know, among European players. This is what I'm saying. If you do the list among European players, he's not the number 1 European player. A lot of people will argue that Luka's better than him. Now, if we base it off time, you're like, oh man, but Luka's only played half a season. But he's an all-star in that half a season. KP was an all-star in a half a season, and you're telling me that because KP was an all-star in a half a season, that puts him on the top 20 list. I don't agree with that. But if you're going to do that, then I'm putting Luka up there. And if you do career projection, career numbers, right? If you do career numbers, Luka's career numbers right now, if he averages his 20-7 or 6-6, whatever his numbers are, it's something like that. It's close to it. If he averages that for the next 10 years, right, he's probably going to be considered a really good to great player. Brother Oba brought up Luka. Exactly. Brother Oba said they on drugs. Yeah, they on something, man. They on something. You know, I think part of it, and I'm going to speak to it, I'm going to speak to the other side, because one thing I like to do on any of my sports talk shows or any show I'm involved in or any conversation I'm in, I like to consider the other side, whether I agree or not. I like to consider the other side because it'll help me gain a deeper understanding. And so I understand that a lot of Knicks fans view Porzingis as the next best thing because he was. He was the next best thing. He was everything he showed in his heart, in his basketball IQ, in his willingness to perform, wanting to be great. He has the it factor. I want to be clear here. He has the it factor. The only question marks with this player is his durability. Can he hold up? Historically speaking, guys his size are not healthy players. Guys his size are not healthy players. When there was another post that mentioned this, and I agreed with it. Guys his size don't get ACL injuries. It's not common. Porzingis is the first one. So his question marks have more to do with his durability than his talent. Okay? His career averages, he averages 17.5 or 18 points a game, 7 rebounds, about 44% from the field, about 36% from three-point range. These are excellent numbers for a guy 7'3". No doubt about it. 2 blocks a game. The future is bright. But right now, to put him there right now, he's missed over 140 games out of a possible 350 and counting. Like, no, if this trade was a risk for the Knicks, it was a risk for Dallas too. If he's healthy, I don't think it'd be a problem, but you know, this is about the top 20. We're going to stay on the top 20. Let me see. Anybody else left any comments? Got a couple other people that dropped in. Peace, y'all. Appreciate y'all dropping in, always checking in. You know, my live stream people, check it out later. Let me know. Leave your comments, even if you're not watching live. Things you want to talk about on the next show. Things you thought, your opinions on what I said. You agree, you disagree. I'm interested in it all. But yeah, man, I think Knicks fans, you know, Porzingis had some great numbers. He has some numbers that, you know, you basically could only go, man, not since Patrick Ewing, not since Patrick Ewing, not since Patrick Ewing. And I get it. But that just because he gave us a lot of hope, that doesn't make him a top 20 player in the NBA. Just because we agree that his potential is there, you know, he's not a top 20 player in the NBA. It's like some people have said, they posted, oh, you know, that's why he's a unicorn. They sarcastically say, oh, I guess he was called a unicorn by his peers for nothing. Well, you know, there's been a couple of great 7-foot players that he has yet to come close to. If his skill set continues as it is, and he is able to stay healthy, maybe he will be greater than a lot of those 7-foot players. Maybe he will be the second best European player. I won't say second best foreign-born player. He might be the second best European player, because we're not going to forget about Hakeem Olajuwon. We're not going to do that. So maybe he will be the second best great European player. But guess what? Europe doesn't produce franchise talent. Dirk Nowitzki has been the only one. You could argue Giannis, but that's a different conversation. But, as it stands right now, Dirk Nowitzki is the only player that has come from Europe and established a Hall of Fame career. And Dirk Nowitzki is a special player. To compare Kristaps to Dirk Nowitzki and say he's definitely going to do that, that's beautiful. The potential is beautiful. And I'm explaining this because I'm trying to paint a picture at how Knicks fans view Porzingis. And I think that's why it's hard not to view him as a top 20 player. But here's the thing with top 20 players that you will never have to do when talking about them. You will never point to a sample that is 2 to 3 months. Even if I fold a bit and give you an extra month in there, because he did not play at an all-star level for 3 months. But let me give you that. A top 20 player, you'll never point to a 3-month window and say when he was there, he was playing, looking like a man playing with boys during that period. When he's healthy and during that period, he's a top 20 player. That proves he's not a top 20 player, because top 20 players, you don't point to one part of a season where they did it. You usually are not pointing to one all-star berth unless they're really young. And usually if you're pointing to one all-star berth because they're young, you're also pointing to probably a rookie of the year, an all-defensive team. And obviously he has done some of these things. He's not, he's not one rookie of the year, but I think he's got a couple of NBA honors. Matter of fact, I think I have his NBA honors here. I think he has some NBA honors, but just because we think he's great. Okay, here we go. He's got one NBA All-Star game. He's got one NBA Player of the Week. He's got 3 Player of the Month awards. He was an all-rookie first team. He was 3 seasons in the top 10 of blocks. He's also 10th in the NBA in personal fouls. So, are those top 20 numbers? Are those numbers that make you go, this guy is constantly a top 20 player? See, top 20 players, it's throughout the season. And I'm not saying injury prone players can't be in the top 20, but you can't be injury prone and lack the accolades and lack the stats and awards. Let's see. We got a couple of points here. He spent a lot of time falling down. Red, peace. He spent a lot of time falling down, always getting knocked around, needs some more weight. That's one of the things and we're going to give him time to do that, right? We give him time to do that. We agree. That is a good assessment. That's true. That's a good analysis. It's an easy one, right? We all saw it. Talking about it, that's the other thing with Knicks fans. They get sensitive when you talk about their players. That's a fact, though. What Red just stated is a fact. Tony Parker. Yes. Tony Parker, yes. Tony Parker is definitely a top European talent. Probably will get into the Hall of Fame. But you still, Tony Parker, you don't think about his career the way you think about Dirk Nowitzki's career. And people are not projecting Porzingis to be Tony Parker, which would be okay, right? They're projecting him to be Dirk Nowitzki. Different positions. Yeah, I understand they play different positions for sure, but at the end of the day, generational talent is generational talent no matter what position they play, right? Top 20 players are top 20 players no matter what position they play. If that's what you're saying to point towards. Dyru says he really hasn't proved himself. He isn't constantly on the floor. And this is what I'm getting at. The talent is there, but he hasn't constantly proven the talent. And I just read off his awards and honors. He has in 3 NBA seasons, he has 3 Player of the Month awards. In 3 NBA seasons, he has 1 Player of the Week. In 3 NBA seasons, he has 1 All-Star game. That's a good one. But in that season, he got injured, missed, and hasn't been back since. His block numbers are excellent. He's never in the top rebound numbers. For a 7'3" guy, his field goal percentage numbers are not that great. That's because his game is all perimeter. And I'll take his perimeter game. I'm not mad at it, but his in the paint game is not that effective, but he's working on it. The point is not that what he can't do. Oh, my battery is about to die. Hold on. The point is not what he can't do. The point is, all right, we're going to have to change this up a little bit here. Let me see. Excuse me 1 second. All right. We don't want that to cut off. Let me get this right. All right. That looks all right. Cool. A little further away than where I want it, but that'll work. Mr. Live in the place to be. Mr. Live said, even when he's on the floor, he's anemic and can't finish. See, you notice that the criticisms are not about what he hasn't developed, but it's about strength. It's about stamina, durability, energy. We don't know if he can sustain those things. And if you've been watching him the past 3 seasons, he hasn't played this year, so it's really only 2.5 seasons. You have those question marks. And I don't see how you can look past that based off of a 2.5 to 3 month stretch. But Thairu says, Exactly. Thairu says he'll be top 20 for the first 30 games, and then he falls off as the season goes on. This is what I'm saying. You see what this is not, what I'm about to do is not to compare Porzingis or the Knicks to these teams or players, but just try to understand where I'm going here. You see how when the season started, you have teams like Houston struggling. Chris Paul was hurt. Who's another team? Boston is still trying to find their way, but they started to come out of it. Golden State is starting to appear to be more dominant again. So the great players, the top players that are on some of these teams I named, and there's others. I'm sure I've left some out. They find their footing. They might start off slow, but they finish off strong, and they're in the playoffs playing for the championship. Porzingis has been the opposite of that. He starts off strong. When he's fresh, he looks as good as anybody. There's no denying that. Even with some of the things he don't have post game, there's things he still needs to develop. But even with the things he's lacking in, he's still a dominant basketball player in November. Then in December, towards the end of December, it tails off. By the time we hit January, no mas. He's never had a January like a November. He's never had a February or March like a November when he's been available in those months. Never. Those other teams I named, the great players on those teams, they may not have a great November or start out the gate hot. But then December, January, February, March, it starts going like this. The uptick is crazy. That's what the top 20 players do. And it's not a knock to Porzingis that he hasn't done that. But I think to argue so strongly that he's hands down a top 20 player, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. I don't understand why we overvalue our players so much. The Knicks absolutely overvalue their players. So yeah, top 20, no. Top 30, and this is all win healthy. Everything is win healthy. He's not top 20 when healthy. He's not top 20 when he's not healthy. Top 30 when healthy, you could make that argument. But I think I can name 10 more names that a bunch of people would say, yeah, he's not better than that dude, or it's close. So I think Knicks fans overvalue our players, and that's a good segue into Enes Kanter, the walking double-double that Knicks fans swear is so dominant. Enes Kanter was quoted recently, and I say quoted, and I'm gonna say it in my words. He's basically saying that the Knicks are not playing me because, and it's Kanter, the Knicks are not playing me because I'm too old. DeAndre, okay, cool, I accept that. But DeAndre Jordan is 30 years old. I'm 26. And they're going to play DeAndre Jordan. This is what Fizdale has said. He said DeAndre Jordan is going to get minutes because DeAndre Jordan can be a tutor, mentor, big brother to Mitch Robinson. And aside from just teaching him verbally, he can show him on the court within what Fizdale wants to do. So if he has DeAndre Jordan for the rest of the season, because we don't know for sure that DeAndre Jordan will be with the Knicks past the trade deadline. But if he is, the Knicks are going to take advantage of that to mentor Mitchell Robinson. Same thing with Wesley Matthews. I think Wesley Matthews is 31 or 32, and he's been a defensive type player. You know, he comes to work, you know, lunch pail type of guy. And the Knicks have two young two guards, Damian Dotson and Trier. Wes Matthews, we all know he's tough, came back from some tough injuries. He said he's going to play him. He's going to let him get some minutes if he's still on the team, because he can help the young. That we have guys at these positions that he can teach. So Kanter feels like that would be disrespectful to play these guys if he's not playing because he's 26, which makes him too old. Now, I smell BS because Fizdale has publicly stated it, and if he stated it publicly, I know he's stated it privately because he stated it publicly. And if he stated it publicly, you should know based off what he stated publicly. But if you need to hear it private too, he said publicly that he stated it privately also. He's trying to build a defensive culture. And yes, the Knicks are not good defensively, but you are still trying to develop that culture. And his Kanter does not help in that development. So to publicly say that the only reason they're not playing you is because you're 26, that's just causing issues and distractions, and it's BS, because they're not playing you because you don't help the defensive culture. You don't help teach Mitchell Robinson anything. Of course DeAndre Jordan's going to play in front of you. Let's see. We got some people on the live stream. What they talking about? Mr. Live says, Enes Kanter is slandering the Knicks to make it look more dysfunctional. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. He's trying to paint this picture that the Knicks are treating him so bad. But I'm sorry. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but all I've seen this season is the Knicks do what they said they would do. Try to win games while developing their young talent, but it wasn't about the wins and losses. The president said it. The GM said it. The head coach said it. The assistant coaches said it. And the players understood it. I mean, let's not forget, when the season started, Fizdale said, there are no starters. I'm going to roll the ball out there, and we're going to see who ends up starting. These guys got to earn it. He said it. Everybody got to earn it. Kanter had to earn it from the beginning, and he couldn't hold on to it. Then you're a 10-win team in February. The season's a wrap. Why are you playing a guy that you're going to let walk in the offseason when a guy like Mitchell Robinson, you saying is part of your future. And even if Mitchell Robinson isn't part of your future, you want to display his talents in case he becomes a trade asset. Either way, it bodes well to play Mitchell Robinson. So for Cantor to, as Mr. Live said, slander the Knicks like that, I think is super corny, because in one breath, it's like he loves New York, but he don't love the Knicks. And you don't got to love how the Knicks move in their front office, but Scott Perry, this is his first season, and every move Scott Perry has made with the small sample allowed have been moves that have opened up the Knicks' future. Every single one, including the Porzingis trade, and including letting Cantor walk in the summer if they can't move him by the deadline. Dairu says, why play Cantor if he's not in the plans for the future? As I said, exactly. Cantor is a cancer. You see it happening. You see it in his face. He's tight. You know what I mean? And I get it. He wants to play. This is his free agent season. You know, I get all that, but it's hard for me to believe that you don't understand what the Knicks are doing. It's hard for me to believe anybody doesn't understand what the Knicks are doing when the Knicks said this is what they would do. Exactly. Mr. Live says it's a 10-win team, and Cantor's double-doubles doesn't help the win share at all. I agree. I've argued that all the time. Cantor, you know, people's like, he's an opportunity to get 20-20 at any time. Yo, his numbers don't translate to W's. 9 times out of 10, whatever group of players or player he's defending has similar numbers, or he's just a liability defensively to the point where it's irrelevant what he's done. He's been benched on every team he's played for has benched him. He won it out of Utah, got to OKC. What happened in OKC? That was a playoff team. That was a good team. He couldn't get off the bench in the playoffs. He couldn't get in the Golden State series. He can't play against teams like Houston and Golden State and any team that has stretch big guys. He can't defend the three-point line. He can't defend the paint. And his Cantor ain't that good, and his Cantor ain't great. I'm just being stupid. But we got to stop overvaluing our players. We really, really have to stop overvaluing our players. It's 10:20. I think I could shut it down for the day. I feel good about today's conversation. The fan posts we posted on top 20 players that I think are better than Porzingis, and not just in the moment, but over the past, 3 years. I put 2 younger players on there. Well, Towns has been in the league the same amount of years as Porzingis. But I put Simmons on there, so he hasn't had the years, but I think he's better than Porzingis. But yeah, to my live stream people, thank you. Shout out to everybody that came through. Mr. Live, one last comment. Mr. Live says, Cantor understood what was happening when he re-signed. Absolutely. Perfect way to end it. He knew exactly what he was getting into. And guess what? When he had an opportunity to be a free agent, there was teams that wanted him, but they didn't want him at the number he could get from the Knicks at $18 million for 1 year. Nobody wanted him at that number. So even though the Knicks talked about nothing but a youth movement moving forward, he said, I'm going to take this $18 million and go try to help the Knicks win. It didn't work out, but he's still getting that $18 million though. So to my live stream people, leave your comments, your opinions, post your top 20. My top 20 is no order. I left guys out. It was off the top of my head, but definitely post your top 20. Your arguments, we can make a nice debate about it verbally in the comments. To my YouTube channel people, GoGoGadget Green, thank you for checking me out. Please subscribe, share the videos. Facebook also, share the videos. Let people know it's a fun place to talk New York sports. Before we go, shout out to Saquon Barkley. You heard? NFL, I know people have issues with the NFL. I am a fan of Saquon Barkley. So shout out to Saquon Barkley. This is a sports show, so it makes sense for me to do things like this. Shout out to Saquon Barkley for winning the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. And he also won the award, the FedEx Ground Award, which is which is not a rookie award, but awarded to the best running back in the NFL. So that's ahead of Ezekiel Elliott, who is a phenomenal player, and ahead of Todd Gurley, who I've been a fan of since the Georgia Bulldogs. So big shout out to Saquon Barkley and the New York Giants. Something positive did come out of this season. And we going to get up out of here. GoGoGadget Green. I'm your host, Go Green. Subscribe on YouTube. The Greener Thrones Facebook group. The Greener Thrones NYC Sports Talk on Facebook. Come and join, request membership. I'll approve you. And thank you everybody for coming through. We out of here.